everyone, welcome back, and in today's session I want to demonstrate an example in C++ based on the concept of copy constructors. So let me start. So as you can see, the header file hash include IOStream, then I go with the namespace standard, and then since we are dealing with the constructors, I have to define a class. The name of the class, let it be copy cons, and then the definition of the class. So I want to declare a data member. So under private access specifier, the data member will be of type char. It's a pointer, basically pointer of character data type. Done. And then constructors are defined under public. So under public access specifier, I define a parameterized constructor. They do have same name as that of class. So this is it. And I pass a parameter of same data type. So that's the character data type, and it's a pointer. So this is it. So then I have to initialize the data member var with the parameter str. So before doing that, I have to find the length of this parameters. So I will use the string length built-in function, and then find the length of the string, and then append it, increment by 1, so that the null character is also included. So since I am using the string length built-in function, I have to include the header file C string. Okay, C string. Okay, this one. Okay, done. Okay, then after finding the length, I have to dynamically allocate the memory for the variable. All right. So for this variable, using the new operator, character data type, and how many characters, and so that will be the length 1 plus 1. Okay, so dynamically the memory is allocated, and now I can copy using this built-in function. I will use the string copy s, so that the exact number of characters were copied to this destination data member var, and number of characters is the length 1, and from the source string str. So done. So this is how the data member is initialized in the constructors. I'm using the string copy here, that's it. And then I want to print a statement so that there is a clarity that whenever an object is created, this constructor is invoked, then this statement is prompted on the console. Parameterized constructor invoked. Let me say invoked. Okay, done. So then after this, I want to define an explicit copy constructor. So it has the same name as that of the class. So this is it. And here a copy constructor always has the object of that particular class as a parameter. So here I do the same. What is the class name? Copy constructor, and it's a reference object basically. So this is it. So the copy constructor, why do we use? We create a new object from an existing object, or we copy from one object to another object. So that's where the copy constructor is invoked. So here explicitly I'm giving the definition. So what it does, it copies one object to another. So I have to do that here. So before that, I have to find the length of this. I have to find this length of the variable of the data member associated with this object obj. So I'll keep and a local variable of int data type L2. Finding the length, once again use the built-in member function string length. I want to find the length of this, yeah, and then yeah, including the null character +1. So after finding the length, I want to once again allocate memory dynamically using the new operator and character data type, and how many characters? L2, length 2. We have found the number of characters using the string length, and then yeah, dynamic memory allocation is done. So once again use the string copy function. Yeah, I will go with this. And then what is the destination variable? It's var. And then how many characters? We found out that is the length 2. And what is the source? The source will be the object dot var. So we are copying one object to another objects in this way. Okay, done. Here I want to print a statement on the console saying copy constructor is invoked. Okay, okay, now so before this copy constructor, I want to define a destructor as well. Destructor has the same name of class once again, and no parameters, and within the body I will use the delete operator. Since it is a character array, I will go with the square brackets, opening and closing square brackets, and I want to delete the memory allocated for the data member var. So that's it. So done. And okay, so after this I will go with a member function by name display, which displays the content of the data member on the console. So contents of the data member, what is the data member name? Var. So done. Okay, okay, sorry. Okay, the contents of the data member on the console is printed, and then I will define another function by name getData, which returns the data member. So what is the data member? It's of character data type, so the return type will be same. So I will keep it as constant so that there is no modification allowed. And then the name of the function will be getData. So no parameters. So this function, what it does is it just returns the data member var. Okay, so done. So here, so then next within the main function, what I'm going to do is for the class I have to declare an object. So object name is C1. So then it's a parameterized constructor. What is the parameter passed? It's a string. So I will say hello, oh sorry, hello and good evening. Okay, so this is the string passed for the object C1. And then so in this statement, which constructor is invoked? The parameterized constructor is invoked, right? And then next I will declare an object C2. Okay, so here, okay, Once again, I will declare an object C2 and have some. Okay, I will declare an object C2 and I want to pass. I have to invoke the copy constructor. So what do? Is I will initialize it with the previous object C1. Okay, done. So here the copy constructor is invoked, and then next I want to invoke the display function because I want to print the values of the data members associated with the objects C1 and C2. So how do I do that? Is C out. Okay, this is a parameterized constructor. Okay, I don't say the parameterized constructor, I just say I'll just print or I'll just invoke directly c1 dot display function. Okay, done. And then c2 dot display function is invoked, so we can see that both the objects will have the same values. And then so as you can see, the constructor, I have explicitly defined a constructor. Uh, when a copy constructor is explicitly defined, a deep copy is concept is being implemented, which is nothing but when one object is copied to another object. Suppose say here C1 is copied to C2. So C1 is already having its memory resource allocated for the data member where, and it has its own respective memory address. And then C2, the object C2 also will have its own memory resources for its data member where, and also has its own memory address. So I want to show you that there are two different memory addresses, two different memory resources, one for C1 and one for C2, and which is nothing but a deep copy concept implemented here, because I have explicitly defined the copy constructor body within the class. So for that I have to invoke, that's the reason I have defined the get data here. And so let me print the memory addresses on this console. Okay. Okay, so this is a C1. Okay, C1, sorry, address. So what is the address? I have to typecast static. I will call this static cast, and then constant void, and then I have to invoke this get data because it is returning that data member. Okay, when it is returning, it's typecasted and the memory address has to be on the console. Okay, done. Okay, go to the next line. Similarly do it for the next object C2, so that we could see the memory address of C2 as well. We can find the difference in the memory addresses. So this is done. So here there is an object C1. I am passing a string as the string as a parameter, and what it does is, here you can see the body of the parameterized constructor. We are finding the length, and then dynamically memory is allocated for the data member var, and then copying the parameter string str to the data member, and then printing the statement that parameterized constructor is invoked. Then when I create a new object C2 and I have initialized C2 with C1, already existing object, then what happens is copy constructor is invoked. Copy constructor, this body is invoked explicitly, I have defined. So once again, the length of the length of that data member associated with the second object is found, and then dynamically we are allocating memory for the data member where, and then we are copying the uh, object we are copying the existing object is passed as the parameter, that is C1. So C1's data member is copied to the data member of C2. So that's how the copying takes place from one object to another object, member by member. And then we are printing the copy constructor invoked on the console. So this is done, and then display function prints the contents of the data member for both the objects. We are invoking display for both the objects. So uh, then as I told you, there is a deep copy concept here. So we shall see the memory addresses for the object 1, C2, and C1 and C2, both for both the objects. So now I'll run the code. Okay, there is some error. 1 second. I'll stop this execution. Okay. Stop this execution, or 1 second, let me see the error. What is it? This error was okay. Okay. Um, okay. So stop this execution. So let me check the code. So where is the error? So what I do for now is I want to comment this destructor. Okay. I will run the code. Okay, so now this is the output parameterized construct. The previous error was related to the destructor because it was already invoked. So now, as you can see, first the parameterized constructor is invoked, and then the copy constructor is invoked, and you can see both the objects have the same values, hello good evening and hello good evening. And as I told you, there is a deep copy concept. So the C1 has its own memory resource, and the memory address is different from that of C2. You can see C2 also has its own memory resource, and the memory address is also different from that of C1. So this is how the copy constructor works. You can see both the objects have the same values. So suppose in case if I close this console, and if I have explicitly defined this copy constructor here. If I comment it out, then the compiler by default invokes a copy constructor which is implicit. So in that case, what happens? A shallow copy concept is implemented, where the object C1 has memory resources and has a memory address, and when it is copied to C2, the C2 also points to the same memory resource and the same memory address. So that's the concept here. That's how it is. So let's run this code again. You can see that both the objects will have the same memory address. Okay, as you can see, a parameterized constructor is invoked. Copy constructor, I have commented it out. So then display function is invoked for both the objects. They have the same contents, hello good evening and hello good evening. And C1 address is, yeah, this is a C1 address, memory address, and then C2 also points to the same memory address. So because there is it's a shallow copy, because its implicit copy constructor is being invoked. So this is how the concept of copy constructor works: implicit and explicit, shallow copy and a deep copy. Hope you guys have understood this concept well. So thank you